I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. We have two hurricanes right off, well, one right off the coast of Florida, another one off the coast of Bermuda, so it's out there a little ways. But an amazing, one hurricane's pulling the other hurricane away from the United States. Like, amazing that's happening. And we could see some really cool stuff here coming up over the next 24 to 48 hours as they maybe get a little bit closer. Some of the models want to merge them, but I'm going to explain where I don't know if that exactly happens. We'll talk about it. Let's go to the big picture right now. Pretty cool to be able to see two hurricanes, and they're both hurricanes at this point. Imelda, of course, and Humberto right off the coast. Imelda itself is, let's see, Cape Canaveral to the center. What is that? About 400 miles, okay? About 400 miles off the coast of the Cape Canaveral. But then you notice about 500 miles, maybe a little less than that, is center to center from Imelda to Humberto. So that is just a wild picture. We've had quite a bit of wind. It's not a lot, I shouldn't say a whole lot, but it's a steady northeasterly wind, more north to northeast here along the Florida coastline. So we've got surf all up in the air. We've got beach erosion, we've got rip currents. And even though both of these are pulling away, here's the cone that goes away with Imelda and Humberto. You can see it's kind of falling apart here, moving off to the northeast, but they're still making swells. Okay, so they're going to have swell there along the east coast all week long because of those distant waves that are still being generated. Now, these are the latest numbers. 8 o'clock numbers just came in for Hurricane Imelda. It's about the same as it was. 85-mile-per-hour winds, 978 millibars is the pressure. That's what we had at 5 o'clock. It's moving to the east-northeast at 12. Same thing. Nothing's changed there. The picture here, though, is that this is better structured. Don't know if that's a little eye feature right here. Don't really think so, but we'll keep an eye on it. But either way, you can see it's moving away. And you see these little outer rain bands that are pushing through the area. In fact, some of them through the Tampa Bay area, but it's just a few light showers. We'll even keep that chance through about 11 o'clock tonight, but it'll just come through and move right out. They're not going to be doing too much there. Now, here's the latest forecast from the Hurricane Center. This one came out at 5 p.m. this evening. In Bermuda, it's not a good thing for Bermuda because this thing is strengthening. Imelda is. I mean, we've been focused on what was Category 5 Humberto, 160-mile-per-hour winds, but now it's up here and it's much weaker, 80-mile-per-hour winds at this point. Meanwhile, Imelda, not that it's sneaking up or anything, but 85 now will be 100-mile-per-hour winds by tomorrow afternoon. And then tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, it's moving over top of Bermuda, likely well after sunset. So all this is going to go down in the dark. Not all of it, but the hardest part, if it gets through there, will go down in Bermuda tomorrow night. All right, now the forecast track after that, obviously, will take it out to sea and keep it on the weaker side as it gets over cooler and cooler water. So really, it's tomorrow night that they have to watch for it. For us, we're just seeing a few of those scattered showers. Again, nothing severe is expected. There's actually a pretty good rain core out here. We just don't see it, and it's especially to the west and southwest of the eye here. The rain is actually extended all the way up into the Carolinas. And at one point yesterday, we don't have it now, but we had a cloud shield that went, well, all the way up to New York. It was about 1,300 miles all the way up to the north. All right, so that was a pretty big cloud shield, if you will. Here are the current winds. So we had gusts over on the northeast coast of Florida, Daytona especially, in the mid-20s for today. Right now we have gusts in the teens. The winds have come down a little bit. Today was expected to be the gustiest. All right, well, at least with the direct impact of Imelda. Okay, you can see where Imelda is here, and that's pulling away. So these northerly winds will pull back just a little bit as we move through tonight. Let's take a look at Humberto. There's Bermuda right there. Let me zoom in just a little bit more. You can see Bermuda is the M right here in Bermuda. So the center is somewhere right up in here. And look at all the convection is sheared off to the east now. Ton of wind shear coming in like this. All right. And so that's what's weakening it. Plus now it's getting over some cooler water. Okay, moving to the north at 17. That should start to move a little bit more to the northeast or east. 80 mile per hour is the current trend. And look at the forecast. The Hurricane Center says, yeah, that's it. It's falling apart. It's going to get sheared apart, really, as it moves over the next 24 hours. So that's tomorrow afternoon, back down the tropical storm, and then extratropical and kind of sheared out. Now, does it merge? Let's talk about that first. The models say yes. or some of the models say yes. Let me show you the Euro wind. I think I probably adjusted this too much here. Nope, not going to see it. All right, so it says that Humberto doesn't really move much. This is tomorrow at 3 p.m. We expect it to be somewhere over here. That's the forecast. So this model is a little bit closer to the Euro. The GFS, I got to admit, is very similar. And there's Bermuda, of course, and here comes Imelda by tomorrow afternoon. That Imelda looks good. This looks like it's a little slow. All right. The trough that's picking it up is up here, and those upper level winds that are shearing are going to help to start pick the speed up a little bit. So we'll see if this lingers. It'll be falling apart. This will be stronger. This Imelda would absorb Humberto. It is a possibility that that happens. I think maybe it gets a chunk of it, because I do think another chunk is going to take off and move quickly out to sea. And I would imagine that would be the main part. But that's what the Euro's thinking, and then it moves out. Now, I got to show you this, because by that point, we're talking Thursday afternoon, right? Tropics are fine as far as the East Coast is concerned with imminent threat from a storm. Remember, this is still making surf, still making waves in that direction right there, right? So that's all pushing off towards the East Coast. Now look what's happened. Look at this. Look at that wind. The storm's over here. The wind associated with the Imelda is over here. What is this? That high pressure to the north is building in. It's going to do something like this, come down over here. And the relatively lower pressures here and the highest pressure there, the difference between is what's called a pressure gradient. And in that pressure gradient, you're going to get these winds. And so we've been dealing with some wind, at least, not a lot, for the Carolina coast, the Georgia coast, the Florida northeast coast. And that's actually starting to die down, but it's going to pick back up. And in fact, some areas will see, I think, more wind with this pressure gradient coming than what they ever saw with the Imelda sitting off the coast. So let's go into, this is Friday morning. By the way, for the Tampa area, it's breezy on Thursday afternoon, breezy on Friday. And this will bring some nice weather. Dew points in the 60s, a few showers coming over, but winds 15 to 20. Now they'll be in the 30s, 20s and 30s with some gusts close to 40, maybe. Gusts in the 30s, I would say, over on the northeast coast. Jacksonville, down to Ormond, Daytona, Cape Canaveral. But then there's this, what is called a longshore current, which means it's running parallel to the coast for the Outer Banks and Outer Banks down. By the way, check out my Facebook page, Bobby Deskin's Weather. I shared a link there. A bunch of those houses didn't make it today. That erosion, what we've been watching for, a bunch of them fell into the ocean. But there's more where that came from, because this is all kind of erosion through Friday. Let's go through Saturday. Same deal. Look at this wind. I mean, the highest will be offshore, but that's a solid east wind out there on the beaches. And this is here, Tampa. Sustained winds in the teens. We'll see some gusts in the lower 20s throughout the day on Saturday as well. And this is all bringing in some moisture too. There's actually more moisture coming up from the south, and an east flow off the Atlantic picks up moisture and tends to give you some afternoon showers. And I think that's what we'll see on Saturday. Then on Sunday, let me stop it here real fast for you. Sunday, the winds will start to move out of at least Florida and get up in here back into the Georgias, the Carolinas. Still. So, I mean, that's a solid 7 days with wind, and then we'll add some on top of that, especially for the Carolinas. Now, there's the high, and the low, it's not a low down to the south, it's just lower pressure, so you get that pressure gradient in between. You can see the high going by there. Just a very interesting setup here. And most of the models agree with what we just showed you. I'm very interested to see how much of the storms get together and merge. I don't really see a Fujiwara effect where they would wrap around each other first. There'll be a little bit of that because Imelda's coming in. I guess I got to do it the other way. Imelda's coming in underneath, and so it kind of catches up. But I'm not exactly sure that that's going to happen. But I think maybe a piece of it gets absorbed, because what's going to happen, I know, is Imelda's going to pick up speed and probably try to catch up at least to some of it. Now, look, all of that wind I was showing you with the pressure gradient, look at the dew points Thursday and Friday into the 60s with a breeze. Sure, there'll be a few afternoon showers, but those are actually going to be nice days here in Tampa Bay with highs in the upper 80s. And I say that to encourage you to enjoy it, because Sunday the dew point's back in the lower 70s. Monday, Tuesday, I've got an extended one here. It's going back up, and I think it'll go back up even than what this extended forecast is showing here. Let me see if I can find it. Is this it here? Hopefully that's for the next. There you go. Look at the mid-70s by Monday, Tuesday. I think Wednesday's the same. That is almost summertime humidity right there. Kind of is. And in fact, I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, east winds, afternoon showers and storms start on the East Coast, come to the West Coast. Dew points in the mid-70s, highs up near 90 degrees. It's going to feel like summertime, really, as we get into the middle of next week. So a couple breezes around Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just a few showers, 40, maybe 50% by Saturday afternoon. Still don't cancel plans. I think it's going to feel pretty nice. And then we'll get back into a little summer pattern by the middle of next week. Okay, guys, just after 8 o'clock, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that local weather. Weather impacts your life every day. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. You can find out about any change in the weather with our 10 Tampa Bay Plus app. Just stream for the latest forecast, any weather impact alert, updated tropics forecast, and take a live look at the radar. Anytime you want, and it's free. It's just one more way we're helping you stay informed, prepared, and connected. Stream 10 Tampa Bay Plus.
Jeopardy is for everybody.
That's amazing. Oh, yeah.
With players just like you.
Paramedic, a retired teacher, psychiatrist.
I'm a little bit competitive.
That's the spirit.
Watch their victories.
We have a giant killer.
And heartbreaks.
Oh, no.
The next super champion could be anyone.
It's almost like a superhero origin story.
It could be you.
Oh, wow.
It's all happening on Jeopardy.
Jeopardy weeknights at 7:30 right here on 10 Tampa Bay.
I was driving when an 18-wheeler turned in front of me. I locked up my brakes, bam, slid dead into the truck. Bloody and hurt, I was loaded into an ambulance, and that's when I put out my phone and called attorney Dan Newton. Dan jumped right on it. He was in my corner the whole way. He fought the fight from beginning to end and got me $1 million.
Involved in a car accident? Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Dan, your awesome team deserves 6 stars. Thank you for winning my case.
Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Secure outdoor equipment and generators. Clear debris from around your AC unit and schedule a pre-storm HVAC and electrical inspection.
Those are some great tips. And Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40-TODAY.
All right, 12 after 8 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. Let's talk a little bit about that local forecast because we do have some showers in the forecast for the next couple of days. It's not a lot, but it'll pick up a bit. And you can see even tonight with those showers that are falling out there, there's just a few of them, but we won't be done with that chance through about maybe midnight to about 1 in the morning. This is 11 o'clock here, and you see a couple of these showers rotating around. Again, these are outer rain bands, if you will, of Imelda. I mean, I guess they kind of are, right? By tomorrow morning, though, we'll be dry. We'll be mostly sunny. I think it's a nice start in the morning. Tomorrow will be one of the calmer days, like less wind altogether. But we will see some afternoon showers. This is around 3:30, and you see a few starting over on the East Coast, a couple along the sea breeze for Manatee and Sarasota County. But then watch what happens in the evening. A pretty decent chance. I've gone 20 to 30% chance, but for Tampa Bay itself, that's a little bit higher there for Pinellas and Hillsborough. And then you see over here Hardy, DeSoto, and Highlands counties. That's around 9 o'clock. So 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, that's the best timing for showers. And well, I don't even think there'll be that many thunderstorms, but mostly showers. We can't rule out a thunderstorm or two, but that would be in the evening hours. Now, that's Thursday morning. Still some moisture along the coast. Look at the winds. See how the winds are out of the east? In the mornings, even on the Gulf side, especially in the summertime when it's warmer water and you have a strong wind off the water, you tend to pick up a little bit of moisture at least and blow on some showers in the morning near the coast. Afternoon is going to be over here. So watch Thursday. There's the morning, there's the afternoon. Get it? Starts over here, finishes up over there. So these will be fast moving. It's going to be a breezy day, low topped, right? You'll see them way off in the distance. I'm going to be running some time lapse on Thursday. Should be kind of cool as they come across. And then through the evening hours, they fall apart. Not a lot, but mainly in the afternoon, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, okay? That's overnight Friday. So let's take a look at some of I want to show you this. There goes systems, okay? Systems are moving away. See this? This is that wind that's coming down on the backside and this high pressure is kind of running into the moisture down here, and it's going to create an old boundary, a stalled boundary here. And along that, this dark green you see is a lot of moisture. Okay, and so this is Thursday morning. So this moisture is going to move into South Florida and then kind of slowly through Saturday and Sunday drift northward across the state. That is our increased rain chance. All right, watch this as we go through Friday night into Saturday afternoon. Look at all that moisture that's built. So a lot of times this time of the year, well, I mean, tomorrow's October, but late September, it can still happen. If you get a storm, a hurricane coming up the coast, if it goes like that, a lot of times you'll get some drier, cooler air pulled back down behind it. All right, this didn't do that. All right, this went like this and out. So all it was doing was pulling from here, from this area here. A lot of that's water, warm water, the Gulf Stream's there, right? And even in the Carolinas, it was warm and kind of muggy. So there wasn't a lot of cool, dry air around like there'd be late October just to our north, right? And just because it didn't go that far to the north, it was pulling from this area over the water. All right, so we don't get that, right? And that's the reason why you see all this green here. That's why we keep that chance for rain. And then the white lines you see here, the moving ones, those are the surface winds. And an east wind off the warm water it's summertime, right? East to southeast winds. We get a few storms here in the morning, but they kind of fire up and push back to the west in the afternoon. Watch what happens by Sunday. You see that? I'm going to back this up. This is Monday. Let's go out to Sunday here. That's Monday morning, Sunday evening. See this little shot of dry air right here. So what that will do is, it's basically then what we're watching is this area here drifting northward. Starts here, comes up Thursday, Friday, this is Saturday, and that's Sunday, okay? So the rain chance, I think, actually goes down a little bit on Sunday. So look, I don't think Saturday is a rain out by any means, but if you have to pick a day, Saturday versus Sunday, Sunday should be a little bit drier and there'll be a little bit less of a wind around, of a breeze. So if you're taking the boat out, for instance, Sunday probably a better day. The winds will stay out of the east and northeast, which is really bumpy offshore, but is flat right near shore, right? Right there at the beach is going to be flat, but it's going to be a little bumpy at times, especially in the bay. The bay will be choppy more than anything else. But then notice this. This goes out through all of next week. And still no main dry air. That's why I say dew points are going to be high. Look at the wind. It's not a lot of wind, but we still have east to northeast wind. And then we're starting to develop potentially a low pressure here. This is the European. It's backed off of it a little bit, but it feels like a low kind of develops somewhere in here and maybe takes off to the northeast. All right, so the bottom line is, I say all the time how patterns can repeat themselves. Because you get a high to the north, all right, you get the tropical system to do this, and then what happens? The high comes in, goes over here, right? And then you get another high up here a week later, right? And then what happens? You get another low to form right here. Pattern recognition is really all it is, all right? So it's not written in stone, but I certainly think that this solution to get another low forming out here is not unheard of, all right? So we'll keep an eye out for that. Here's the European model again. Let me show you how it completely merges the two. Look at that. Pulls it right in. Little Fujiwara there, a little bit. We'll see. It is slowing down Humberto a little bit. Okay, so now let's go out through that rain that we said. There's the boundary. This is Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon is right there. You see the extra rain. Sunday afternoon, not terrible, okay? The boundary is actually a warm front now as it's drifting off towards the north. Look at the rain into Jacksonville, Georgia, and South Carolina on Sunday and Monday. I mean, that's a really good fetch of wind and water coming in off of the Atlantic Ocean. So they're going to get some pretty decent rain there. And then look at this model. Now, this is Wednesday of next week. This is a week from today. We still have this east wind. We still have, and that's what I'm talking about next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is summer-like, right? Pushing those showers and storms from the east coast to the west coast. That's Wednesday. And then look what's happening in the Bahamas. Thursday evening, Friday, and then that's about as far out as this model is going to go at this particular point. So here we are again. Deja vu. Now, that's a week and a half. Okay, like 10 days out. So the model's not that good, but could that happen? Yeah, sure, it could. I definitely could see something like that happening. In the meantime, we'll stick with the next 5 days. That's a little bit easier. That's a little bit more accurate. You can see how the rain chance does go up a little bit as we work our way into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which is not showing as much as I think we'll see. I don't think we get a whole lot. It's not a rain out, but there's more moisture, and especially Tampa northward on Saturday, we're going to get those storms start on the East Coast and come over to the West Coast. All right, and then you can see I dropped the rain chance on Sunday down to 30% because most of it's, Citrus County northward. All right, up towards Ocala, Gainesville area have a better chance for rain, including over there in Daytona. Okay, let's take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk 7-day forecast, and I will talk a little bit about the extended forecast for tropics. It's October. We start looking at different places this time of the year. I'll show you what that looks like coming up.
I was driving when an 18-wheeler turned in front of me. I locked up my brakes, bam, slid dead into the truck. Bloody and hurt, I was loaded into an ambulance, and that's when I put out my phone and called Attorney Dan Newton. Dan jumped right on it. He was in my corner the whole way. He fought the fight from beginning to end and got me $1 million.
Involved in a car accident? Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Dan, your awesome team deserves 6 stars. Thank you for winning my case.
Weather impacts your life every day. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. You can find out about any change in the weather with our 10 Tampa Bay Plus app. Just stream for the latest forecast, any weather impact alert, updated tropics forecast, and take a live look at the radar. Anytime you want, and it's free. It's just one more way we're helping you stay informed, prepared, and connected. Stream 10 Tampa Bay Plus.
And it's like a movie script. It's family rivalry, betrayal, and murder.
They cover America's most fascinating true crime stories.
One way or another, that's an execution.
Absolutely.
Every case.
Who would want to hurt him?
Every clue.
This is dynamite for an investigator.
Every mystery that keeps you guessing until the very end.
Does everyone's jaws drop?
Dateline, 5 times a week.
Watch weekdays at 4 on 10 Tampa Bay.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. You need quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
All right, 23 minutes, just about after 8 o'clock. Good Tuesday evening, guys. I want to kind of back up a little bit and go over the hurricane season because we do kind of have seasons within the season, right? When we start looking at different locations throughout the year, or throughout the season, I should say, for tropical development. So let's start on seasons June 1st through November 30th. Let's start with May because we tend to get some storms in May. They don't tend to be the stronger ones, but you can see here the tropical origins. At that time of the year, we start looking in the Western Caribbean and the Eastern Gulf and even the Bahamas. Think about it. May, we're starting to warm up. We're still in our dry season, but it can be warm. The average high is in the upper 80s to almost 90 degrees by the end of May. I think it is 90 by the end of May. Okay, so not a lot of rain, water, air's warming up. That warm air obviously warms the water, and then if you don't have a lot of rain, it can keep the water warm. When you get a lot of rain, it tends to cool the water a little bit, right? So we got to watch May, especially with the warming climate as well. It's probably, if it continues to warm like that, this would be a little bit warmer each May. So you can see where we're looking there. Now, let's go out to June. It's the Gulf. It is the Gulf, and right off of our coast as well, and obviously the Western Caribbean. But we're starting to look a little bit more in June up along the southeast coast as well. Now, let's get into July. So July's kind of a lull in July, but we can certainly get storms. We're still watching the Gulf, but we start looking a little bit more down into the Central and Eastern Caribbean here. All right, and then the Bahamas and up off the southeast coast. Now, as we get into August, we really start opening it up. We start watching for these waves to come off of Africa and make it over and start developing out here. And these are what we call our long track storms, right? And then they can get into the Caribbean. Do they curve, which we've seen a lot of this year? Do they come straight up, which eventually really is what Imelda did. Imelda kind of did this. It was very weak, and then it turned to the north. It went basically into the Northeast Caribbean, over Hispaniola, and then did a hard turn up through the Bahamas, right? Or it can come all the way across and do that. That's in August, right? Now, September, it's game on. September 10th, it's the peak. Most of the water is as warm as it's going to get. Beginning of October as well, but this is the good time for storms to form. And look, I mean, everything, right? Look at all these places that we have to start watching. By the way, the reason why we get hurricanes, it's Mother Nature literally trying to vent the heat that stores in the ocean around the equator or just north of the equator and vent it to the north. It's literally almost like boiling, bubbles up these storms. They go off to the north and northeast usually, and that kind of spreads out, takes the heat out a little bit. Now watch what happens. Look at that. As we move through October, now we're back here in the Western Caribbean, the Gulf, this area here. What I just showed you on the European forecast model had something potentially right in here, going up, going out. All right, that's where we look for this time of the year. Then as we get into November, things quiet down quite a bit. We're mainly looking out here. Think about that. We've had some cold fronts come through to start to cool us off a little bit. This water starts to cool. They don't generally make it that far yet, so we still have some warm water there. Now, looking